back to our news podcast about the civil war in Syria. March 28th, 2011 is when it all started. The Baptist Syrian Arabic Republic, led by the president, were protesting when the armed forces went to stop the protest.
Things began as minor protests early in January 2011 and transformed into massive protests in March of 2011.
The unrest spread and the crackdown intensified. Opposition supporters took up arms, first to defend themselves and later to rid the area of security forces. Mr. Assad vowed to crush what he called foreign background terrorism. The violence rapidly escalated and the country descended into civil war.
More than 500,000 are dead, and meanwhile the Violations Documentation Center, which relies on activities inside Syria, has recorded what it considers violations of international humanic laws and human rights laws. It documented 191,219 battle-related deaths, including 123,279 civilian as of December 2018. Now, Kat, tell me more about the war.
Many groups and countries, each with their own agendas, are involved, making the situation far more complex and prolonging the fighting. They have been accused of fostering hatred between Syria's religious groups, pitching the Sunni Muslim majorities against the President Shua sect. Such division has led both sides to commit crimes. Michael, how is this war affecting the country?
As well as causing hundreds of thousands of deaths, the war has left 1.5 million people permanently disabled, including 860,000 have lost limbs. At least 6.2 million Syrians are displaced, while another 5.7 have been fled abroad. Neighboring Lebanon, Jordan, and Turkey, hosting 93% of them, have struggled to cope with the largest refugee migrate in recent history. By February 2019, some 13 million people are estimated to be in need of humanitarian assist, including 5.2 million in acute need. The warning parties have made the problem worse by refusing aid agencies access by most of them in need. Syrians also have limited access to health care. Physicians for Human Rights have documented 550 attacks on 384 separate medical factories by December 2018, resulting in the death of 892 medical personnel.
Russia, which has already had military bases in Syria, launched an air campaign in support of Mr. Assad in 2015 that had been crucial in turning the tide of the war in the government's favor. The Russian military said that its strikes only targets terrorists, but activists say that they regularly kill mainstream rebels and civilians. Iran is believed to have deployed hundreds of troops and spent billions of dollars to help Mr. Assad. The US, UK, and France initially provided support for what they considered moderate rebel groups. Turkey has long supported the rebels, and Turkish-backed rebels have controlled territory along the border in northwestern Syria since 2016. Saudi Arabia, which is keen to counter Iranian influences, have armed and financed the rebels. Michael, can you tell me more about the U.S. government being in the Syrian war?
In August 2011, then-President Barack Obama formally asked Assad to step down for the sake of the Syrian people and issued a new sanction on his resign in August 2011. For allies such as the President of France, Germany, and the Prime Minister of the UK called on Assad to resign too. What happened next, Kat?
In remarks to reporters at the White House, Obama warned Assad's regime not to use chemical weapons, describing it as a red line for his administration that could prompt the United States to intervene militarily.
In August 2012, chemical weapons were used in a conflict at points earlier in the year, but pressure built on Obama to act on his red line when Syrians used them to kill civilians in a brutal August 21, 2011 attack on rebels in Damascus. Nearly 1,500 civilians, many of them being children, were killed.
In August 2013, Obama asked Congress to approve strikes. The proposal lacked support.
Later in the year 2014, Obama asked lawmakers to approve his plan for the U.S. to arm and train rebels in Syria to fight the Islamic State of region. The U.S. also carried out airstrikes against the Islamic State of Syria, which helped a lot of countries, including Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Jordan.
An investigation led by the United Nations and OPCW found that the Syrian government used chemical weapons, namely banned toxic chlorine gas, in attacks in 2014 and 2015. ISIS had used mustard gas.
Trump, now president, signed a controversial executive order
establishing an infinite ban on accepting refugees from the country. The ban, which Trump administration assessed was necessary for the nation's security, was quickly hated by the courts after critics said it was discriminative against Muslims. The second version of the travel ban, which is working its way through the courts, would not ban Syrian refugees immediately.
April 2017, dozens of people, including children, died in a chemical attack in Syria that the United States and others said was carried out by Assad's regime. Officials in Turkey said initial tests on some victims suggested that Syrian and banned nerve gas was used in the attack. Trump and other American officials condemned the attack as horrifying, inhumane, and a breach of the 2000 treaty. Trump said seeing footage of the victims on television had affected him, as he described the attack crossing many lines for him beyond a red line.
The White House announced that the U.S. was taking military action against Assad's regime in the forms of airstrike. Kat, do you think the war will ever end?
It does not look like it will end anytime soon, but everyone agrees a political solution is required.
President Assad appears unwilling to negotiate with the opposition. The rebels still insist he must step down as any part of settlement.
Russia, Iran, and Turkey has set up parallel political talks known as the Asta process, but they have also struggled to make headway.
In December 2018, the three countries failed to meet a deadline to form a committee to draft a new constitution after the UN said that the list of participants they submitted was nor credible nor exclusive.
This is also horrible. We hope the war will be able to end soon and everyone can be peaceful.
I agree 100%, Kat.